In the spring of 2013, I was in a near-fatal encounter with a black New Orleans police officer. In an instant, I went from sitting in a parked car, having a close conversation with a dear friend, to suddenly and violently being taken from the car with my hands cuffed behind my back, my knees pressed into the ground, my face pressed into the door of the car, and with a loaded gun placed at my temple by a law enforcement agent. Hi, my name is Jamil Paulin, and I am a survivor of the American police state. More than that, however, I'm a visual artist. And as traumatic as that experience was, it was also transformative, igniting me with a passion and a commitment to the work of Black liberation. And the story that I would like to share tonight is my journey to making Black Lives Matter a fully integrated way of life, as well as an art practice. Now, to set the stage, I'd like to first talk about anti-Black violence as a visual language. And as such, it is a way of communicating power from those who are dominant to those who are subordinate. Now, as a student of art history and as someone raised in the Catholic Church, I was keenly aware of the power that religious imagery has in transforming suffering and subordination to strength and salvation. After all, from the perspective of state-sanctioned violence against unarmed and innocent civilians, what truly distinguishes the murder of Breonna Taylor from the passion of Jesus Christ? And with that perspective in mind, in 2017, I produced this painting titled Community-Oriented Policing, which depicts the murder of Brother Alton Sterling by two white Baton Rouge police officers. The idea being that if we, the viewer, could see Alton Sterling's death in the same light and with the same reverence that we look at the crucifixion, for example, perhaps Brother Sterling could assume some power in death that he was denied in his life. But in the wake of making this painting, I came to two troubling realizations. The first was that perpetuating these images, even in an art context and even in a religious context, reinforced and reproduces the narrative of the Black body and the Black person as suffering, as subordinate, and as powerless. And the second troubling realization was that the process of making this work was deeply re-traumatizing for myself, forcing me to relive my own near-death experience over the course of several months. Which begged the question, how do I confront anti-Black violence in a way that offers healing and strength to the Black viewer, as well as to myself? Luckily, I would find my answer in Afrofuturism. Now, to me, Afrofuturism represents much more than simply a subgenre of science fiction literature or music. Rather, I see Afrofuturism as a multi-generational project where artists, writers, thinkers, and musicians have transformed the very way that we see and experience the world around us simply by making descendants of the African diaspora the center of their worldview. And in my daily life, I use Afrofuturism as a practice of radical self-love, a way of living and working where I consistently and intentionally affirm my Blackness and my Africanness from the inside out. And this journey to becoming an Afrofuturist yielded, most recently, my project Congo Square, an audio-visual album that I produced and developed for virtual reality. And the scene from that project that most vividly expresses my understanding and application of Afrofuturism is Sankofa. Now, at times, this symbol, which derives its name from the Adinkra symbols of the Akan peoples, is presented in this orientation. At other times, it is presented as a bird with two heads facing forwards and backwards simultaneously. And this symbol is used to illustrate the proverb, go back to one's past and bring forward that which is useful. And in Sankofa in particular, and in Congo Square more generally, what I sought to create were expansive, liberated virtual worlds where the ground beneath you, the sky above you, and everything in between are manifestations and expressions of radical Black love. So how can you practice Afrofuturism in your daily life? Allow me to offer 4 suggestions. First, fall in love with your Blackness and your Africanness, connecting to them both on a consistent basis as sources of strength and meaning. And in this scene, titled Black Christ, I created a sacred space fashioned from the digitized representation of a Kikongo power figure and placed a monumental Black body in the center of that world to demonstrate this theme. Second, honor your ancestors and learn from their wisdom. Now, I'm a firm believer that our ancestors live on through us, through the memories that we carry of who they were, through the interpretations that we make of interactions and experiences that we shared with them, and most importantly, in how we incorporate those memories and interpretations into our waking life. And in this scene, Circle Dance, I pay homage to my ancestor, John T. Scott, and I contribute to his nonlinear and Afrocentric approach to art making by introducing the hip-hop techniques of sampling and digital immersion as tools and techniques for experiencing and expressing Afrocentric and Afrofuturist concepts. Third, practice meditation and other forms of self-care to heal from trauma. I myself still experience heightened stress responses whenever I see police cars in my field of view, and especially when I see new cases of brothers and sisters being killed by police. But over time and through diligent practice of mindfulness meditation, I'm learning to improve my quality of life by lessening my general anxiety and reprogramming those trauma responses. And I would offer Kemetic yoga, Reiki, and other forms of energy healing, as well as aromatherapy, as other avenues of self-care. And finally, support Black artists. Art and the artists who make them often help us process and make meaning out of experiences that are too profound to put into words. Artists like April Tsunami, David Michael, Scott Woods, Mark Lomax, Fioris West, just to name a few of the brilliant Black artists who live right here in Columbus, Ohio. So my hope and my invitation is that we, as the Black community, can affirm, uplift, and amplify these voices who are working in our midst, so that together, in love and in solidarity, we can transform this world into a place where all Black lives matter all the time. Thank you.